My name is Shrikant Idam. Hope you all doing well and welcome to my YouTube channel S Idam Techie. Today we are going to discuss about the part 2 load balancer listener. So what exactly is listener? And elastic load balancer listener is a process that checks for connection request. So whatever the incoming traffic, whatever the request which is coming to the load balancer, so elastic load balancer will listen to it. So when you configure elastic load balancer listener, we need to configure the port number into it. So whatever the port number request come to it, it will process that request to the target groups. Target group means whatever the EC2 instances which you have configured in the target groups, it will distribute to it. It will forward that request to it. You can configure the protocol TCP port number 443 on which your ELB listener listen for the connection request. So like as I said, we have to configure the port number on the elastic load balancer to take the request, incoming request. Front listeners check for traffic from client to the listener. So client means it can be a web server. So whatever the traffic which is coming from the client, it will be moved to the listener, front end listeners. From front end it will go to the load balancer, then load balancer will move it to the back end. Back end listeners will distribute the traffic to the listener, to the EC2 instances. Back end listeners are configured with the protocol or port to check for traffic from elastic load balancer to the EC2 instances. So once the load balancer take the request from the listener, it will move it to the backend listeners. In the backend listeners, we have to configure the protocol or the port numbers. Then it will be moved the traffic from to the EC2 instances. So it may take some time from the registration of the EC2 instances under the ELB to complete. So when you create a EC2 instance and for registration it will take some time to complete. Registered EC2 instances are those that are defined under the ELB. So whatever the EC2 instances are registered, only those are defined for the load balancing. ELB has nothing to do with the outbound traffic that is generated from the registered EC2 instances within the VPC. So here in the elastic load balancer, whatever the EC2 instances are configured, it will only pick up the elastic load balancer only has to manage the incoming traffic and share the load. That's it. But it has nothing to do with the outgoing traffic. Outgoing traffic means the registered instances, like if it is like checking the internet, if it is browsing anything, it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with the outbound traffic. Load balancer only work is to share the load to the EC2 instances. Elastic load balancer only has to do with inbound traffic destined to the EC2 registered instances as a destination and the respective return traffic. That's right. So you will be charged hourly basis once your elastic load balancer is active. So here, once you configure the elastic load balance, it doesn't matter if you use it only for a minute or 30 minutes, something like that, but you will be charged on the hourly basis. In case if you do not want to be charged, as you do not need the elastic load balancer anymore, you have to delete it. You can go ahead and delete it. So once you're done with your elastic load balancer, you simply go and delete it. Before you delete the elastic load balancer, it's recommended that you point the route 53 to somewhere else other than the elastic load balancer. So if you are going to delete your elastic load balancer and if you have route 53, then you have to configure the route 53 to somewhere else. Okay, or else route 53 will be configured to your elastic load balancer. So before deleting it, you have to move it to somewhere else. point it to something else. You can configure it to the web server directly. Deleting the elastic load balancer does not affect or delete the EC2 instance registered with it. So if you are going to delete your elastic load balancer, it is not going to affect your EC2 instance. It is still there. Okay, it will be just deregistered, unregistered. Elastic load balancer forwards traffic to ETO, Ethernet 0 of your registered instances. So when you add your instances to the elastic load balancer, by default it is going to use Ethernet 0 port. In case EC2 registered instances has multiple IP addresses on Ethernet 0, Elastic Load Balancer route the traffic to its primary IP address. So on your EC2, you have multiple IP address configured. Okay, it can be a gateway, it can be a IP. Okay, what it will do is it is going to send the request to the primary IP address only. Elastic Load Balancer support IP version 4 only in virtual private cloud. So if you are going to configure IP version 6, then it is not supported. It support only IP version 4. To ensure that the Elastic Load Balancer service can scale ELB nodes in each availability zone, ensure that subnet defined for the load balancer is at least /27 in size and has least 8 available IP address. Elastic load balancer nodes can be used up to scale. So this definition means when you create a subnet, we have to give the subnet number. Okay, here we are going to choose 27. When you create a subnet, it will show 26, 27 like that. We have to choose 27 in size. From 27 here, no subnet, it is going to take 8 available IP address. So by default, it needs 8 IP address for the elastic load balancer nodes. So it can share the load. You will understand it like when we create a when we do demo. For fault tolerance, it is recommended that you distribute your registered EC2 instances across multiple availability zone within the VPC region. In case if you want to use fault tolerance, it is recommended that you have to register all the EC2 instances whichever present across your multiple availability zone. Okay, then only it will work for the fault tolerance. If one availability zone goes down, still you have all the instances present which are in across the other multiple availability zone which you have already registered with your load balancer. If possible, try to allocate same number of registered instances in each availability zone. So what exactly it means is we have to configure, try to allocate same number. So in each of your availability zone, you have to make sure like you have correct number of EC2 instances registered. For example, if you have two availability zone, in one availability zone you have two instances, in other availability zone you have five instances, that is not the correct allocated number. So it will be better if you configure the EC2 instances correctly, give the correct same number, then it will be easy for the load balancer to share the load. The load balancer also monitors the health of its required instances and ensures that it routes traffic only to the its healthy instances. So load balancer not only shares the load, it also monitors the health of the required instances to which it is routing the traffic. If it is in a healthy status, then only it will route the traffic to it. If it is in an unhealthy status, it will not share the load with it. A healthy instances share a healthy under the ELB. So healthy instances will give a tag called healthy under the elastic load balancer. When an elastic load balancer detects an unhealthy instance, it stops routing traffic to that instance. So if it is unhealthy instance, it is not going to share the load. it is not step, guys, it is stop. It stops. An unhealthy instance shows as unhealthy under the ELB. So if the instance is not healthy, it will show as unhealthy under the ELB. By default, AWS console uses HTTP for health check. So in order to perform health check, it has to ping, right? So it is going to use port number 80. Registered instances must respond with a HTTP 200 OK message within the timeout period, else it will considered as unhealthy. So here registered instances need to respond within the time period which we mentioned there. Okay, in case if it doesn't respond 200 OK, it means it is healthy. It will consider as unhealthy. So these are the default settings for the load balancer, guys. AWS API. So this is for the application uses ping TCP port for health check. For the console, it is going to use TCP port 80 to perform health check. Response time is 5 seconds. You can configure the range from 2 seconds to 60 seconds. In order to perform health check, it will wait for 5 seconds. If we receives the ping command, then it is healthy. If it doesn't receive it if it is not going to receive the response within 5 seconds, if it is going to take 6 seconds or 10 seconds, then it will be considered as unhealthy. So health check for the internal period of time between health checks. So default is 30 seconds. You can configure the range from 5 to 300 seconds. So for internal check, this is a default time 30 seconds. For unhealthy threshold, number of consecutive failed health check that should occur between the instance is declared unhealthy. So what exactly it means is, if if it is going to check the health status of the instance, like how many times it has to ping and for what time it needs to wait. Here here is a range is 2 to 10 seconds, default is 2. Okay, so to perform unhealthy check, here I'm going to configure 2 seconds. So default is 2, right? So for 2 seconds it will wait and it is going to ping to the instance. If it is going to get success, then it's declared as healthy. But in case if it is getting a failed ping, then it will declared as unhealthy. So one ping is completed. Again it will wait for 2 seconds. Again it is going to ping to the EC2 instance. But this time it is getting a healthy status, success of the ping command. Then it will consider healthy. But here, in order to consider it as unhealthy, it needs to get two failures status from the that EC2 instance. Then only that EC2 consider as unhealthy. So I have one more example here, then it will be easy for you to understand. Be it healthy or unhealthy. So here if I am going to configure threshold is a default is 2, right? Here I am going to configure 10. If I am going to configure 10 and I want EC2 instance to be healthy, then first it will try to ping. Then I got first ping, I got fail. So after waiting for here I am going to configure uh, 5 minutes. After 5 minutes again it is going to ping to the EC2 instance, but this time I got success. Again after 5 minutes it will ping. Now I got fail. After 5 minutes fail. After 5 minutes fail. Again 5 minutes success. So likewise here it is going to ping 10 times. In 10 times I got only 3 times success. Sorry, 4 times success. Okay, but I need 10. So in case if I have 10 successful attempts, then only I will consider the load balancer will consider it as healthy instance. So you can configure here like how many uh, pings you want that EC2 instance to be considered as healthy. 10 is more for healthy status, default number is 10. So unless you don't get 10 successful attempts, then only it will consider as success. It means to say healthy EC2 instance. For failure, for unhealthy, default is 2, so it will check only 2 times, then it will consider as unhealthy. So however you can increase this range. Let me undo the changes. So what exactly is listener and target groups? So I explained about listener, I already explained you about listener, guys. By default, ELB distributes traffic evenly between the availability zone, and it is defined in without consideration to the number of registered EC2 instances in each availability zone. So by default, Elastic Load Balancer distributes the traffic evenly between even limit the same between the availability zone. It is defined in each without consideration to the number of registered EC2 instances in each availability zone. So what exactly it means is, in Elastic Load Balancer we are going to configure availability zones, right? In availability zone, for example, I have three availability zone. In first availability zone I have two instances. In second availability zone I have three instances, and in the third one I have five EC2 instances. But Elastic Load Balancer, what it will do is, if it is getting 100% of traffic, it is going to distribute evenly traffic to all the three availability zone, 33%, 33%, 33%. Okay, even though EC2 availability zone 1 has a less instance, it will not consider. It is going to share the same load. But in order to avoid that, we have one more option, that is called cross zone load balancing. So by default this setting will be disabled. So once you enable it, what will happen is, whatever the traffic which is incoming, it will share the load equally depending upon the EC2 instances which are present in the availability zone. As I said, in the availability zone, if I have two instances, and in the second availability zone I have three instances, in the third availability zone if I have like five instances, it will total the number of EC2 instances. Okay, and it will divide it with the incoming traffic, and it will share the equal load, okay, correct load with the EC2 instances which are present in the availability zone. For example, if availability zone 1 has only two instances, it is going to share the load of only two using the cross load balancing option. So when enabled, Elastic Load Balancer will distribute traffic evenly between the registered EC2 instances. If you have 7 EC2 instances in one availability zone and 3 in another availability zone, and you have enabled crossed zone load balancing, each registered EC2 instance will be getting the around same amount of traffic load from the Elastic Load Balancer. So this is a good feature, guys. Elastic Load Balancer you choose must be unique within the account. So whatever the name you configure for the Elastic Load Balancer, it needs to be unique. Elastic Load Balancer is region specific. So all the registered EC2 instances must be in same region but present in different availability zone. So like I said, it needs to be present in the same region, guys. What is cross zone balancing? I already explained you here. It is disabled by default. When enabled, the Elastic Load Balancer will distribute the traffic evenly. Okay, the same point mentioned here, it's copy paste twice. What is internet facing? Elastic Load Balancer will have public IP address. So the internet facing means front load balancer. So it needs to have a public IP address. DNS will resolve the Elastic Load Balancer DNS name to this IP address. So DNS name will resolve the elastic load balancer DNS name. DNS will resolve means the web server will have a IP address, website name, right? So that is a DNS name. So the DNS name will resolve the elastic load balancer name to this IP address. So the front load balancer will have a IP address. So using the DNS name, it is going to convert it. It routes traffic to the private IP address of your registered EC2 instances. So from here, it is going to route the traffic to the private IP address. Private, here you can configure EC2 instances in the list. It will have a route table. The router will have a route table, right? So even this node will have internet face node will have a route table of your EC2 instances IP address, private IP address. So it is going to route the traffic directly to it. You need one public subnet in each availability zone where the internet facing elastic load balancer will define, such as elastic load balancer will able to route internet traffic. So each availability zone need to have one public subnet, okay, which is communicating with the internet load balancer, which will help you to route traffic, internet route traffic to it. Format of the public elastic load balancer will be like this. So this is your website name, client name, and it will have like a 8-digit number. Then it will show the region, and it will have this extension ELB Amazon AWS.com. But in case, but if for the internal load balancer, which is in the back end, it will show the internet name and the number, region, and elastic load balancer. It will be like this. So once we configure, you will understand. An elastic load balancer listener is a process that checks for connection request. So this listener will always check for the incoming connection request. Each network load balancer needs at least one listener to accept traffic. So no network load balancer will it is mandatory to have one listener to accept the traffic. So in case if there is no listener, it is not possible to route the traffic. You must assign a security group to the elastic load balancer. This will control traffic that can reach your elastic load balancer front end listeners. So it is recommended that you configure a security group to your elastic load balancer. So what security group will do is it will configure the ports. So whatever the ports you configure in the in the security group, it will allow those ports only to control the traffic. Then only it will reach your front end listeners. Next is target group. Logical grouping of targets behind the load balancer. Target group is nothing, guys. Here, in target group, you add the EC2 instances. So those are called as target. Logical group of targets. Logical group of EC2 instances behind the load balancer. Target groups can exist independently from the load balancer. So the target group can exist independently, so it can work independently from the load balancer. Target group can be associated with an auto scaling group, right? This target group can be linked with the auto scaling group. So in case if one EC2 instance goes down, so auto scaling group will be notified and it will create the new EC2 instance. Target group can contain up to 200 targets. In one target group, you can have up to 200 EC2 instances. So this is about part 2, guys. I believe you understood regarding listeners and target group, how it works. So thank you for watching, guys. Please do subscribe, like and share it with your friends. Meet you in next class. Bye.